Good morning, Angela. How has your day been so far?
Oh, all right. My train was delayed this morning, and I think there's a disruption all week. At least that's what the news said, anyway.
Yeah, I was the same. I had to get a bus in instead, which took about twice as long. Are you managing to get anywhere away this summer?
I'm going to Portugal at the end of September.
Oh, that'll be lovely. Hopefully, you manage to squeeze in a long weekend away somewhere in between then.
I still need to do a lot of shopping for it, so I'm using my weekends to prepare as best I can. I'm not sure what the weather's going to be like, so I'm struggling a bit.
It'll be fine. It'll probably be mid-20s, so definitely nice, comfortable weather. Shall we get started then?
Yes, that'd be great.
Can I get you any tea or coffee at all?
No, I'm fine, thanks.
Okay. Alright, I thought it'd be good to go over the purpose of this meeting and to give you a brief outline of the things I'd like to discuss so you're not going to be faced with any surprises. If you have any questions at all along the way, please do just let me know. Okay, so we're going to have a look at your performance across the last 6 months you've been with NetPorter following your completion of your 3-month probationary period. I'd like to hear everything from your own perspective so I can understand how best to support you. I also have a copy of your job description here so we can refer to this if need be. If there is anything at all that you feel you need extra support with, today would be a great opportunity to look into that so we can get everything organised to suit you. We will also have a look at your KPIs, but again, if there are any concerns you might have, then this is a great time for us to discuss these so we can resolve them going forward. Lastly, I'd like to discuss your future plans, what you'd like to get out of your current role, and what kind of support we can provide to help you achieve these goals and to further your own personal development. This could be both for the next year or so or for the longer term. Does that all sound okay with you?
Yes, that's fine with me. Will there be a chance to review these things again in a couple of months, just to make sure I'm on the right track?
Of course, if you ever feel like you want to discuss anything following this review, please do just get in touch with either myself or your team leader and we'll be on hand. We would want to just overload you with information and then expect you to figure everything out just the rest yourself afterwards.
Oh, okay, that's good to know.
Lovely. Okay, so firstly, I'd like to hear from you just generally how you feel things have been going in the past 6 months.
Yeah, I feel everything has been going well. I've received good feedback from my team leader in regards to my KPIs, so I'm confident that I'm going to do a good job in terms of what the figures will say. The work was hard at first because I didn't quite anticipate how physically demanding the job would be, but I think I have gotten used to it now. Sometimes I struggle with some of the packages I need to move by hand, which impacts me, like I accidentally pull a muscle to or something like that. I'm also kind of worried about the Christmas period coming up shortly since I know the workload will go up a lot.
Could you elaborate a little more on any injuries you might have had?
Yeah, in the physical demands on my job description it says moving products up to 15 kilograms in weight. And of course, this is normal, but sometimes I'm in a hurry and I don't have enough time to think about the proper form when I'm lifting things.
Okay, so your health and safety is paramount, so we need to make it a priority that you're eliminating any safety hazards. So we'll make a note now on to get some extra health and safety training organised. Of course, as you said, the Christmas period is coming up, and understandably, the workload will increase too. So we absolutely need to make sure that you're safe and comfortable, especially at this period. Have you raised this with your team leader at all?
No, I didn't see it as a big issue at the time to raise it. I thought I'd wait and see if it got any easier in the lead up to my appraisal, but since it just stayed the same, I thought now would be a good time.
Okay, I understand. I'll be in touch with your team leader to organise some refresher training, but please do let me know if you're experiencing any discomfort at this point, okay? How do you feel with operating the machinery? Is everything okay with that?
Yes, I've had no problem with that at all. I'm used to that from my previous jobs, so that is one of the things I've always been comfortable with.
That's great to hear. I've heard from your team leader that you've been operating the machinery well, but it's always just good just to compare that with your own perspective. Is there anything you feel that hasn't gone so well in the past 6 months, or anything that you'd like to focus on in particular?
I don't really think there have been any problems as the work itself is quite easy, but sometimes I feel the rest of the team don't pull their weight as much as I do.
Okay, what do you mean by this? Could you give me an example?
Well, recently I saw some of the team standing talking for a while and I was the only one doing the work. I approached them eventually to ask if someone would help me with processing some incoming orders, but I was told to wait as they were doing a handover process for someone going on annual leave. I had to run about trying to sort everything out while they chatted.
Alright, I see. As I understand it, there have been some difficulties between yourself and another member of the team, and I believe this has been dealt with. I also believe you had a mediation meeting which was organised, and everything seems to be in resolve from that. But let's not focus too much on that today. The purpose is to discuss your own skills and development and what we can do to improve on how to build on your own CPD. Of course, I understand that these things will frustrate you and make you feel like you're being held back. But what kind of things do you think you could do, or things you would like us to do, to make you feel like you're continue developing and are part of an integral part of the team?
Well, if I'm honest, sometimes I don't feel like I'm part of the team. I hate to bring it back to it, but the grievances still make me feel disconnected. I get on well with them now, but it's purely a working relationship. And I feel that the repercussions have meant I'm being excluded from the group. They have been here longer than me and get on well with the team, so I take it I'm being held at arm's length sometimes. This makes me really frustrated, and I've said things to which I have only made things worse. Hopefully the mediation meeting has helped, but it's hard to act like a team player when I feel like this has spread to other members of the team.
I completely understand. How long have you felt like this?
For quite some months now.
But are you happy with the outcome of the mediation meeting?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, well, let's discuss this another time together with your team leader. As I said, let's not focus too much on the grievance, as we don't want to automatically set the tone of the meeting to be about that. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's fine by me.
Okay, so I wanted to have a look at your KPIs across 12 months. These statistics are purely factual and don't take into account any reasons for an increase or decrease in actual figures. I've spoken with your team leader regarding your figures, and she's let me know that she's very happy that you've consistently hit and even exceeded your targets for each month. So very well done for that. It's not easy to keep up the momentum month after month, given how exhausting this job can be. So both myself and the team leader are happy with this. What are your thoughts on these figures?
Yeah, I'm happy too. And as I said, I knew I was consistently hitting them, especially with the outbound figures. Most of my work is relating to the outbound orders, and it's almost second nature to me. So I'm not surprised that these figures are a little higher than the inbound ones.
That's great. Is there a method you can implement from your outbound processing into your inbound that would result in your actuals exceeding your targets a bit more?
I don't think so. I think it's just because I don't receive as many outbound orders as I do inbound orders as I do outbound, so I sometimes find myself second guessing certain processes, sometimes which means it takes me a bit longer to get everything organised.
I understand. I can see from your KPIs too that both your inbound and outbound orders have increased as each month goes on, so it's good to see that you're getting more and more comfortable. Do you think perhaps shadowing someone or spending a bit more time taking on inbound orders from the rest of the team might help a little?
Yeah, that would work. Maybe a combination of both would be best. I wouldn't want to take on more inbound orders from my team until I'm comfortable processing them, just in case I cause a hold up or something. Do you think I'll be able to shadow any team leader?
I can speak with your team leader tomorrow about that and try and get something arranged. Does that sound good with you?
Yeah, that would be great, thank you.
Great. Your team leader also let me know that she had some concerns regarding the gap between your targets and the actual figures in your inbound orders. If we have a look at month 11 and month 12, there's only a 2-figure gap as opposed to month 9 and month 10, for example, where there's a 4-figure gap. You're still exceeding your targets. However, let's not get too hung up on this, but I just want to check in with you to see if there are any reason that you think might have caused this.
Well, I think this was a period of some demotivation given the grievance, but I'm hoping that this will only go up now. There aren't any problems at all with work. It's all relatively straightforward, but I think it just came down to a bit of apprehension and negativity in the work environment.
I see. I can understand how that would be impacting you and your work. Let's see how we can move on in the next month or so, and we'll have a look at the figures again to see where we stand. Now, of course, we always want to ensure that our team is performing at its very best, so we need to figure out a plan that ensures that all of the team members are collectively hitting the benchmark figures. Again, you're consistently hitting your targets each month, but let's discuss ways to get you working towards these benchmark best-in-class figures. What do you think are your strengths and weaknesses in your role?
I think I'm able to just get stuck into my work and not be distracted by anything around me, and I think I'm fairly consistent in my accuracy and punctuality.
Absolutely, your figures prove that, and your team leader mentioned this to me too. You're only about 0.5% away from hitting the benchmark figures, which is very minuscule and not something to worry about.
That's good to hear, and I think I will be 99.9% once I get completely comfortable with all the processes. I feel I'm nearly there with it. For my weaknesses, I guess I'm a little bit slower than the rest of the team, and I think this is due to a combination of some physical injuries, my working relationships, and still getting to grips with certain procedures. But I'd be more than happy to work with someone for a few days just to make sure that I am actually doing everything by the book. So I wouldn't be spending some time thinking about what I do before I do it, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. Sometimes you get to that stage where you've done something so many times that you begin to question if you've done it right all along. I get that too. So we've already discussed some refresher safety training, so hopefully that won't hold you back going forward. Obviously, we aren't expected to have hit these benchmark figures in the space of a month, so shall we set a target of 1 increment per month? How do you feel about that?
Yes, that'd be good. It's not a big jump, so it doesn't sound unrealistic. If it's going to be hand in hand with extra training, as I said, I'm sure things will get better as the months go on, so I'm quite comfortable with those targets.
Great. There are a few other things I need to discuss with you as part of the appraisal, and one of them is employee engagement. I've spoken with your team leader, and she's told me that you've had quite a few absences this year, and they all seem to be falling at the same time in the same month for the same period of time. Is there anything at all here that we need to know about so we can support you? Unfortunately, no return to work forms have been completed, so I'm completely in the dark with this one.
Oh, I get migraines which come routinely every month, and I think the lighting in the warehouse makes it worse. I mentioned it before, but I don't think it's been recorded anywhere.
Okay, perhaps there's some reasonable adjustments we could make for you. A referral to occupational health might be beneficial as well, so to see if they can provide any further assistance. What do you think?
Oh, that would be great. I'm already on medication for this, but it'd be good to see if there could be some sort of flexible working I could do, or compressed hours for which would help with this.
That's certainly something we could explore. Let me add it to my list of things to discuss with your team leader in the next few days or so. I think perhaps it'd be beneficial for you to come to this meeting as well, just so we're all in agreement with everything. Does that sound good?
Yes, that'd be great.
Okay, I also wanted to ask you about how engaged you feel with the organisation. I know you said you felt some difficulties with your immediate team, but what about the organisation itself? Have you had a chance to meet any people out with your own team?
Not particularly. I know about some of the events, but I've just never found myself wanting to go to them because I'd be uncomfortable going myself and I feel too uncomfortable to go with the team.
I see. It's a bit of a catch-22, isn't it? There's a welcome event for all the seasonal staff about to join us, and your team leader let me know that you didn't attend your own one last year. So do you think it'd be worthwhile going along to that? It would be in your working time and no one would know each other, so it could be a good opportunity for you to make some connections. What do you think?
I guess it could be useful. Will there be seasonal staff there who will be joining our team?
Yeah, most definitely.
That would be really good then. I wouldn't mind having the opportunity, or maybe show some of them how things work and introduce them to the processes I'm comfortable with.
That'd be a great opportunity. Thank you for showing interest in that.
No problem at all. By the way, I was wondering how do you to go about becoming a team leader? That's definitely something I would like to plan to do.
Well, team leaders typically need about 2 years minimum experience with us, and they have to be hitting or well on their way to hitting those benchmark figures we discussed earlier. That way they can spread their knowledge to the rest of the team so everyone's performing just as well, and they'll be able to share their insight into the organisation. If this is something you're interested in, I definitely encourage you to attend as many events as you can within the company so you can learn a lot more about the organisation itself. And we can work towards hitting those benchmark figures as well. Let's catch up again in about 3 months or so to reassess these. How does that feel?
Yeah, that makes sense. Thank you so much for your time.
No worries at all, Angela. Thank you for being so open and honest with me.